So often we make life all about our wins and achievements. But what if actually the best things are the ones that never happen to us? Let's find out. Aloha, everyone, and welcome to your podcast for Joyful Serenity. My name is Pia, and I'm grateful to be a part of your journey in becoming. I don't know about you, but I often find myself in situations where I talk a lot about the wins and the achievements in my life, or also other people share their wins and achievements in their lives. And although I love to hear about this and celebrate those things, there's something that just came into my mind that really moved me after I listened to a very inspirational podcast with Oprah Winfrey and Dwayne Johnson, where at the end he said one sentence and he talked about his past and not becoming an NFL player, which he actually wanted to be, and that this was one of the best things that never happened to him. And that inspired me to make this episode and just dig a little deeper into this topic and how we often forget about the best things that never happen to us. I, for example, always wanted to become an actress. I knew I loved performing since I was a little girl, and I played in different theater groups, and I sang in a choir, in a band. I knew that the stage was something I really wanted to get on. I took private lessons from a musical artist and actress where she practiced with me. And I also applied for one of Europe's best actor or acting schools, which is in Berlin. And from 2,500 applications, they usually take about 20 people each year. So when I applied, I didn't even think they would consider me, but they did. So I had the opportunity to go there and to show them actually my skills or myself. And I prepared, I got there. I have to say it was a week after the funeral of my dad. So I wasn't really in a very good space or mood, but I knew I wanted to do it anyways, just because he knew I was going to do it. And I wanted to at least try, because otherwise I would have a lot of regret about not even trying. So I went, it didn't work out. And I was, of course, devastated. But at the same time, what I knew was I still loved performing. I still knew that the stage was something I loved, but I put it away for some time. And of course, the first feeling was I wasn't good enough for them. Another thing that I then tried was to get into one of the best universities for sports, for studying sports, which is also in Germany, in Cologne, the Deutsche Sporthochschule. And they have a very, very tough test if you want to even be considered to study there. So I think I've always tried to reach for the highest stuff and the highest achievements. I went there, I went through a part of the test, and then at one point I got thrown out because I wasn't able to fulfill the test as it was supposed to be. So I failed. And again, I was finding myself devastated, crying, sad. I wasn't good enough. So I put sports to the side. I knew it was my passion, but not for competition. And another thing I went for then was psychology. And with my grades, I would have been on the waiting list on place 2,600 something to even get in there. So what I did was I was doing a social year instead in a psychiatric ward where I was able to support the nursing staff there. And it was very practical. But I didn't get in. I didn't get into the official psychology university that I wanted to get into. And I put it to the side. I kept my interest, but I knew then I was a very practical person. And maybe it wasn't for me. Some years later, when I already got into fitness, which happened because psychology and sports and my acting career didn't work out as planned, and I did my practical year in the psychiatric ward, and I was training in a gym 5 times a week, and the studio owner came to me and asked, "Hey, you're here pretty often. Could you imagine yourself teaching here or working here?" And I told him, well, I'm not experienced here in that field, but of course I would be open to. And he said, no problem, we'll get you trained and then we'll be happy to have you. So that's when my fitness professional journey started over 15 years ago. And I started that. And when I worked there, I found out that that was actually a stage. I was presenting myself in the gym. I was in sports. And of course, it was always a part of psychology because I'm working with people and their goals and their desires and their needs. I think you can see where this is going. In 2013, I applied to become a Zumba jammer, which is a choreographer for Zumba. I knew I always wanted to educate people to be creative then. That was my goal when I applied. And access denied again. So when I sent out my application, and it was done so professionally and with so much passion, and I was so hopeful, and it didn't work out, again, the first thing I felt was being a failure, being not good enough. But what I always kept in my heart was that I loved educating people and I loved being creative. And all these so-called failures that are, by the way, just experiences that we give a meaning to, they brought me where I am today. So when that didn't work out, I was already working in fitness. I have started to teach group fitness classes where I found my stage, where I could perform, where I could do sports, where I could give people a good feeling about themselves and help them to achieve whatever it is they want. And I had a dual study that was called fitness economy. And then after finishing that, I went to Spain to work as a fitness entertainer in a hotel, which brought me back on stage because at night I would play on the stage. We would have shows. We would have different things where I could do emceeing, where I could sing, where I could dance. And during the day, I could teach people fitness. Then I created my own classes, my own structures. I wrote it all down. Then somebody asked me if I wanted to start maybe teaching workshops to other instructors because I'm so experienced and passionate about it. So this is what I did. I then started to give workshops for different companies in the world. And then at a fitness event where I was invited because somebody saw me on stage, I found Pound, the Rockout workout, which now, as you may or may not know, is one of the biggest parts and passions in my life. And I did not only become a Pound Pro, which is an instructor, but I also got asked from my master trainer if I would consider applying to become an icon, which is a master trainer to educate other instructors. And then all of the failure that I've experienced in the past, it all came back, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't want to be rejected anymore. So I just want to tell you about what happened when I actually applied. So I applied, and I knew the date where they would come back latest with an answer if I was accepted to the training camp or not. And that day, I was checking my email all day, every day. And then at one point, I decided to stop it because I thought they either will let me know or they won't. However, the outcome will be, I will see it tomorrow in my inbox. And at the evening, I was having a date with a friend of mine, and we wanted to go out and eat. And I was sitting outside of her apartment in my car, listening to the radio, the rain dropping down, and I felt the urge to check my inbox one more time. And although I gave a promise to myself to just do it the next day, I still did. And I saw that there was an email that says, your Master Pro application. And I read through it. And it felt so nice, kind words, but it was the same feeling like when I got my rejection from the Zumba Gemma process back in 2013. So I read through all the email. I just flew over it to wait for the no. Where is the no? Because yeah, you're awesome and it's fantastic and your passion is outstanding. But unfortunately, no. I was searching for it. But at the end, it said, and this is why we would love to welcome you to our Master Pro training camp. And I know exactly which song was playing. It was Simply the Best by Tina Turner. And my friend just came towards my car. I was screaming and crying, and she just looked through the window like, what is going on? And I showed her the email. And so this journey started. And actually, right now, being an icon, being a master trainer for Pound, and sharing this wonderful program for your mind and for your body all over the world, where it has led me, I would have never traveled to so many countries and met so many beautiful people if I would have not been rejected as an actress in sports, psychology, or as a Zumba Gemma. What I want you to do, and what I want to invite you to do, is to ask yourself, what are some of your best things that never happened to you? Think about it. If I would have been accepted as an actress, I would have had to really get endless auditions and castings and always searching for approval, always having to prove myself that I am the right one for this role. It didn't happen. Instead, I'm now performing on stages all over the world, wherever I choose to, with the people I want to, without needing approval from anybody else. If sports would have worked, I would have probably been a great sports teacher, but I would have never experienced the beauty in my life that I have now, traveling around, teaching other people. If psychology would have worked, maybe I would have had my own little, what is it called? Yeah, I would have my own little space where I would offer psychological counseling. But what about the rest? All the other things that really ignite my fire and that I love in my life? Would I still be able to follow that? What are some of your best things that never happened to you? Again, think about it. Write them down and just see what followed all of these so-called failures, these experiences that just somebody put a meaning on it. I'm pretty sure if you do this, you will find a lot of sense, a lot of connection, and a lot of meaning and purpose in what you are doing and how you're living right now. We can only live forward, but we understand life looking back. So with that being said, dare to look back and find those things, those best things that never happened to you. And if you would like, I would love for you to share some of them with me. You can find me on Instagram at PiaVictoria1 or Victorious Visions 2018. I will put those in the show notes too. And I would love to hear from you. What are some of the best things that never happened to you? Thank you so much for listening. As you know, or maybe you not know, I have one English podcast episode every month. It's always the last Monday each month. And I have over 10, 12 of them already here on the podcast. So just scroll through them and find the English episodes, enjoy them. And if you listen to this, I'm very grateful that we've met somewhere around the world, or maybe even just here. And let's see what comes out of this. Aloha.